is a 1991 Camaro Z28. And wait a minute, somebody else has done that intro. Hello and welcome to Two Hopes Garage. Outside the garage today, it's a beautiful day in the sunny northeast of Scotland, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to do a wee walk round of my Camaro Z28, which, as the title says, I bought sight unseen with less than 6,000 miles on it. So the story of this one, I was actually looking for a Corvette. I was looking for a 94 to 96 Corvette in any colour except for white. It had to be a manual, not an automatic, and it had to be a coupe, not a convertible. This thing popped up and it was white, it was a convertible, it's automatic, and being a convertible, it's the 5 litre as well, not the fastest. However, low mileage in excellent condition made me buy this. So this was purchased sight unseen from a US Air Force gentleman down in Bury St Edmunds in England. Now, let me explain. I am up in the northeast of Scotland. It was 600 miles away, so I couldn't go down and see it. Asked the gent some questions. He seemed to answer them quite well. I was quite honest about describing what the faults were on this one. So I thought I'd take a chance, and I went down to England to buy it. Now, the way I bought this is probably not advisable. I gave him a deposit. Well, for a start, I didn't see it, apart from pictures. Gave him a deposit, then went down to England, 600 miles away. I hitched a lift with my boss part of the way. Then got on a train with a bag with a 5-figure sum of cash money in my bag, and yeah, I was kind of nervous on that train because I thought, if this bag goes, it's going to really ruin my day and kind of ruin my year really, and quite a few years after that. So that's don't go on the train with a bag of cash, guys. That's an idiot's move. Anyway, it all worked out, as you can see, because it's here and I didn't get mugged. So I went, picked the car up. He'd cleaned it up nicely, put fuel in it, give me some parts. It was all good. This car hadn't been used much at all when I bought it, so it was, I think the previous owner to him had put 700 kilometres on it. Kilometres because it's an export car and not a US model. 700 kilometres in 5 years, which is not much at all. When the guy that I bought it off of had bought it, he bought it off the gent, took it, I went to drive off home. I don't think it got far down the road when it broke down, and the guy he bought it off of was not that accommodating, saying, yeah, it's yours now, forget it mate, you've got a problem. So yeah, the car had to be trailered home. He took it to a garage down the south of England. I keep saying south of England. Everything south of Glasgow is south of England to me. It's probably not the south of England. He took it to a garage called American Technique. They're well known for working on 3rd-gen Camaros. They went through it, replaced all the good stuff, injectors, what else? They went through quite a lot of it. Injectors, filters, yeah, they recommissioned it for the road, having sat off road for quite some time. So when I got it, I drove this thing 600 miles to the north of Scotland. It hadn't done that length of trip for quite some time, if at all really, looking at the mileage on it, which is still only in the region of 6,000 miles. So it was probably not the best idea taking it on that long a trip for its inaugural trip with myself. Unfortunately, when I hit Scotland, There's a whole load of rain, probably the worst rain this thing has seen ever, which I wasn't chuffed about, but it made it home. There was an intermittent check engine light. That was an EGR valve which he'd included. It turned out to be a slightly different fault, but there's a video about that anyway. So the drive up was grand. It seemed to be reasonably economical. It drove nicely. Yeah, quite chuffed with it. So although it probably wasn't the best way to buy a vehicle, it kind of worked out. So that's the Camaro. So we'll do a wee walk round. We'll start under the bonnet or the hood, depending on which side of the pond you're on. As you can see, it's the 5 litre TPI. You can only get a 5 litre in the convertible. You could get a manual or an automatic. This one's an automatic. Absolutely stock in here, apart from an Optima battery. Cracking condition. All the old stickers are still on there. There was factory chalk marks, I can't remember where they're at. What else? Now, being an export model, this one has got this here, which I don't believe you get on the US models, and there's a couple of bits of like grey paint there, and something where a sticker might have been previously. Apparently that is an export model thing as well, but lovely and clean underneath. Walking around, there's a few wee flaws. As always, the paint on these doesn't quite match where it's plastic and where it's metal, but good nick. Export model again, here's another couple of differences on the export model. We've got the GM chiclets down here. They were on export models, and the main sort of visual difference we have is these mirrors. For the export markets, the mirrors had to be able to fold in the event of an impact. Obviously the stock ones don't, so they fitted these. I'm not a big fan, although the black kind of ties in with the rest of the car with the black and white, so I've made peace with them for the moment. I do have a set of stock original mirrors. They're in blue. They need painted. I also need to get the inside. I've got the motor for them, but I do need to get the glass, and I think the backing, there's a plastic backing plate. However, that aside, that's the main differences. So we've got the chiclets and we've got the folding mirrors. I'll take a wee wander around. All nice and clean. For the UK, somebody's fitted a fog light. That's a mandatory requirement. I might try and fit a neater one in there, but it's all looking good. Super clean. There is a few marks down at the wheel arch. You can probably see just in front of the badge there. I'll probably get them touched in a wee bit better. But that's about the only problems with the paint. Oh yeah, so we've got up on the nose a little bit of, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but you get a little bit of spider webbing on the plastic there. All good. And we'll open up the door. Have a look down the door shuts. Absolutely tremendous condition. Even the late 80s, early 90s GM door cards are looking remarkably fresh. Couple of chips down in the door sills. Not bad though. Again, we'll probably touch these in. The driver's seat is in excellent condition. We got a slight wear mark down here. Nothing too bad. Everything in here is just nice and fresh and in very good nick. Dashboard not cracked. All the plastics and trim looking remarkably fresh. The stitching on the gear lever there, and the handbrake, all looking good. Likewise with the steering wheel, everything's fresh. These lift up a bit, as they always do. What else can we show you inside? Back seats are like new. The roof, we've got it down today, but the roof's in remarkably good condition. It's the original roof. Doors shut nicely, they're not hanging down. Oh, that's not a good shot, is it? Let's move out. The doors shut really nicely, they're not hanging down. Boot motor was, I did have issues with this one. It was a new motor in it. The reversing switch was the issue. I took it apart, cleaned it up, rebuilt it, put some dielectric grease in it, and it stopped working again. Took it apart, rebuilt it, a little bit of dielectric grease, worked a few times, it stopped working. Took it apart again, built it without the dielectric grease, and it worked remarkably well after that. So the motto there was, don't use dielectric grease if you're rebuilding a reversing switch for a Camaro. In here you can see, here's another difference for the export model. Now this is a warning buzzer here. This was disconnected, I don't know what it was for, but apparently it's amazingly loud. And the other thing is, for the Japanese market, they have to have flares. So it's still got the flare carrier. Obviously flares are not a good thing to to export your car with. So it didn't have a flare when it came into this country. Once again, everything's looking remarkably nice for the age of the car. Come out. This one, as you can see, has still got the original paint protector where the roof sits. It's peeling up the tiniest bit there, and there's a wee flaw in it somewhere else. I don't know. All very nice condition. What else can we tell you about a 91 Camaro? Wheels are good. Tyres on this one are a wee bit older. I will look at replacing these. They've been stored though. They weren't flat spotted, dry rotted or anything, but they're a bit older and they need replaced really. I think another one thing with the Japanese ones, on that wheel you can see a sticker there. I don't think you get that sticker elsewhere or on the US market cars. So that's us for the moment. We'll close the bonnet up and start it up.
Camaro's normal territory, I think, but that's fine. What I do find with the factory exhaust on it, and I'm going to keep this one stock, is that it's you'll get a massive amount of V8 noise. Hence, all the guys that modify theirs and have something a bit more loud on the go. However, we'll look at keeping this one stock and we'll keep it as is. The noise you get off it's not bad. In a moment, something I don't really like in convertibles, and that's driving with the windows up. We'll keep some of that wind noise down a touch, maybe not, we'll soon see. Up here are quite nice for taking a convertible out on a cruise on a nice sunny day. Anyway entertaining for you. I'd be super chuffed if you hit that like button, and indeed be even more chuffed if you pop back at some other point to watch another one of the videos. Thank you very much, take care and goodbye.